It'll take a second to kick on.
I've got two kids.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, you can as long as you do it before what time it's
yeah, we have to post it.
on Saturday. There was a meeting on that thing that, I sent this thing. We have a special meeting on Saturday at 9:30. Come in.
Yeah, I mean, me and him came in.
Call to order and then we go eat it.
There's no way. I mean, I've got two kids, one
Then we come back out and say no business was.
When did you go in person, make, have recommendations?
I mean, so what do we take people that 26, everybody just 26 ranks to it? Yeah. And see what comes in.
I mean, I would come on and rank them and say what we think. Have them rank them.
Let's say we.
It's been in Chatham over 10 years. Dad just did it in Chatham over 10 years. They took over control of the road.
Okay, whatever, please rise for a moment of silence. Would you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jeff, is this the appropriate time to
Yes,
allow Mark to participate by phone?
yes, is he on the line?
Yes.
Okay, so if he's provided advance notice and meets one of the criteria, that,
Yeah, what I'm gonna do is that there'd be a P for president, an A for absent, and an R for remote.
okay. So then the board just needs to vote to approve his absence and participation via telephone.
Okay, Pat, would you take the vote, please?
I think we gotta.
Well,
I'll
make a motion.
Okay, second. Okay, do we have a voice vote or?
Voice vote's fine.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Pat, okay, have you got
Wait a minute,
the,
let me catch up here.
Okay.
Who made the motion?
I did.
And who made the second?
Matt?
Dave pointed out last week that if two people talked at the same time, he had a really tough time picking it up. So
Okay.
we could,
Get it out.
Okay. Pat, you got the roll taken.
Yeah.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is public comments. John?
Secretary John Sides. I was here a couple of weeks ago in regards to the ordinance that's on the agenda tonight, and I was unable to make it last week, so I watched online to see what went on at the committee meeting. So a lot of new information was raised and some new ideas were floated that I thought had some merit. And it seems like the board is heading in a direction that they believe this collectibles card place or whatever it is on equal grounds with the VFW and the Legion as far as merit on receiving a liquor license. And it seems like everybody's finding a reason for possibly giving it to them. And I understand a lot of points being made. It's transitioning from one type of business to another. It still is a collectibles and playing card and putt-putt golf and ice cream shop. They added pizza, bingo, liquor license. Now, for a lot of you, that seems fair enough and that they're worthy to get this and that you should give them a chance to develop that. So everybody's formed their thoughts on that. I have mine, I disagree. So let's move past that. Let's move past to some of the thoughts that were expressed last week, and that's in regard to what happens with an R1 zoning classification for them. And the fact is, immediately, it qualifies for gaming. Now, he was in here last week and said, I don't plan on getting gaming. That's how it was phrased. And the fact is, it's out there. If you approve this, it's out there, it's done. And if you keep this zoning R1 the way you have it now, you will always have that issue when anybody comes in here and applies for that classification. Now, last week, the idea was raised to do an R1G. And I think that idea has a lot of merit. There was some discussion that, well, we got to be fair to businesses. It's restrictive. But the fact of the matter is, it's exactly the opposite of that. Instead of cutting anything, you're giving people more choices when they walk in the door on what they want to apply for. If you have an R1, anybody that walks through that door can come in here and tell you a story of what they're going to do. And it's like the attorney pointed out last week. Once they're in, once it's done, there is nothing you can do. I would think it would be in the best interest of the community to have an R1 and have an R1G. You know what's going to happen when they come in. Someone just wants a restaurant, they walk in and they tell you that's what they want. And you're ready to go. If they want the gaming, you know immediately they want the gaming and whether you want it or not. And I've been meetings in the past. I was probably at all the meetings where someone came in here wanting to do gaming and set up one of those parlors. And the board was unanimous, I believe, that that's not what we wanted. And the board was unanimous that we don't want to pursue that and go down that road. But with leaving this like it is and passing it like it is, you are opening that up for anybody that wants to do it. And I think it'll be easier for the board. I think it'll be easier for decisions in the future, which when anybody walks in, you know what they want. We had a couple people, there was one group that came in here that wanted a license. They had a plan. They were going to have a little cafe. They brought in a menu of items they were going to have, food for this place, and they wanted a gaming license. And the village said no. That menu was 10 times what Wynot has as far as food goes. So you're basically, by passing this, handing them a gaming license. And in the real world, telling somebody, well, it's not my plan to do this. That's not firm enough. It doesn't give you guys any control over any of this in the future. And I think that would be something you would want to pursue. I don't see it as restrictive. The only people it would be restrictive to is someone who comes in here and says, I want a R1, and then a week later, or a year later, goes, well, I want a R1G. And I'm being restricted by what I have, but you're not. Because the fact is, anybody that applies for an R1 can come back at any time, I would assume, and reapply for an R1G, and it would be up to the board's discretion to give them that gaming license. But it keeps you guys in control. And the attorney was very clear, and I'm sure anybody was listening to him, when he made the comment, if we do this, we have no control in the future on what people do once they get these licenses. And I think that's a pretty big issue to contend with. My suggestion that maybe you should take another look at this. Every time the board in the past that I've witnessed has moved on something and hasn't really studied all the repercussions, it hasn't worked out well. And I think this is an issue that needs to be studied. The village was clear. Those meetings were packed with people. They don't want it. They don't want they don't want that gaming here. They don't want those places popping up. And you're about ready to hand one tonight. So, I would suggest we look at that, review it. I think it has merit, and proceed from there. What if it takes a little while longer? The gentleman that's applying for this if he's telling you the truth, which I assume he is, that he only wants R1, he's not interested in gaming, by delaying this, putting these two types of classifications into effect, he can come back when this is done, apply for the R1. It relieves the concerns of anybody in the neighborhood, it relieves the concern of anybody in the village, everybody knows where he's coming from, and there's no maybe if out there, it's cut and dry. So, I would ask the village to give that some serious consideration. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, John. Did you? Yes, ma'am.
I have a couple of things to show you here. I brought my coffee pot in several months ago, and I'm bringing it back because I want you to see it. Pass it around, Dave. Let them all look at the top. That's Chatham Water. Does anybody have anything to say about that? You know, I don't think I should have to spend $25 a week at the grocery store to buy water. So I can have tea, I can have coffee, and I can have a drink of water. This was given to me by a friend of mine who lives in Hurstbrook. House is 5 years old. One month filter. Whole house filter. 1 month. This is the water that was in the bottle. And everybody just sits like deer in the headlights. It's very irritating. I have a very good friend of mine who is a real estate agent and has told me that real estate property values have gone down 7 to 10% here. And the first question that is asked, has the water problem been solved? Is there a whole house filter? How long have these appliances been here? Do you know if any damage has been done to these appliances? You know, I have complained and nothing seems to be done. I mean, we still don't have good water. This is an example. What do you think is in my pipes? I live in a 63-year-old house. What do you think is in my pipes? I can't get my faucets, what are those little thingies? No, I'm kidding. What are those little thingies on the end of the faucet where the water comes out of? Has the little screen?
An area?
Yeah, I can't get those off anymore because there's black sludge all around it. I've stood for 5 minutes with CLR and they won't move. I can barely pull the handle up on my shower in my bathroom that's only 3 years old because of all this stuff that's all around the bottom of it and all around it. And you can scrub and you can scrub and you can scrub. And if anybody's got any ideas how to get this off, please let me know. Anybody got any ideas about how to get rid of it? But this is ridiculous, guys. And we're paying out the nose for water. And we're going to continue to pay out the nose. And I know you can't do anything about it. The damage has already been done. But you got to somebody's got to get on them out at South Sangamon. You know, you got to, because this is ridiculous. And what do you think's in my pipes? What do you think's in my refrigerator? What do you think's in my washer? What do you think's in my dishwasher? How much money is it going to cost me to replace all this stuff? Is anybody here going to pay for it? Are you? Are you, Matt? You, Mr. Mayor? You going to pay to replace all this stuff for me? Nina? Ken? No, nobody's going to replace it. Nobody's going to foot the cost. Nobody's going to replace the value that I've lost on my home because of this water. Nobody's going to do that.
Okay, thank you. Did you? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I will. Are you talking?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Linda Butler. I came once again to speak about the issue of issuing the liquor license to the Why Not. and I came as speaking on behalf of our neighborhood, speaking as a homeowner, and the residential character of the area in which I live. Issuing this liquor license will change the character, further change the character of this neighborhood. And as I've stated before, we live in the older part of Chatham that perhaps, I have thought a couple times that perhaps if we had an aldermanic, that's a whole different question, but that if there was somebody from our particular part of town, there might be some more interest in the changes in the character of a residential area. That's just a question I had in my mind. I don't know. And as I said, I came here to speak about being a homeowner, at the character of the neighborhood being changed with an additional liquor license. Even though one wouldn't expect that people are going to be consuming to the point of .08, we all know that imbibing of any kind of alcohol causes impairment. We know that. And there's a four-way stop there at Chestnut and Church that people already fly through, roll through, very few. Complete stops are the minority there. And whether alcohol is economic development, I don't know, I can't speak to that. There was quite a bit of information that I absorbed and listened to last week about economic development and so forth. I came to speak to the change in the character of the neighborhood by addition of alcohol at that place. And John Size has spoken to the change in the character of the business by adding alcohol to it. What brought me originally here was to talk about and to object to a business, this particular business that has applied at this time to automatically receive a gaming license. And I also agree with Mr. Size that I think that additional time to consider the way liquor licenses and perhaps make the additional liquor license that has to be applied for to seek gaming would be something that really should have more time spent on it. And I really do think that this is not something that is in the best interest of the community in the way that it would be granted at this particular time. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Sandy Wolski. I'm a resident of Chatham. I'm kind of nervous.
Oh.
I passed out,
Stand right here.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm kind of nervous, so I wrote it down, so if y'all hear me while I
I
read
passed out
through.
Sandy's comments because she got a.
And you've emailed them also.
She asked me.
Yes, yeah, about turning the Chatham Square into a car sales line, it's disgusting, and I don't think I'm alone. It's our town square. The board is equating that the village square has the same value as the Hobby Lobby parking lot, and the square has a veterans memorial with personalized engraved bricks which families bought to honor their loved ones. The first time the car sales ran in Chatham, it was over Memorial Day weekend, and there's always a Boy Scout ceremony in the park on Memorial Day, and it varies. Sometimes we've had a small band, sometimes we've had recorded music, or we've even had attendance by elected legislators. This year, with the car sales being there, the car dealer moved some of the cars back a little so the Boy Scouts could hold a small ceremony around the Veterans Memorial under the flags. The car dealership has had 2 car sales held within 4 months, 16 weeks, or 112 days, both lasting 6 or 7 days. They currently have 270 cars or trucks parked around Route 4 with 175 of them on the grass on the square. It looks trashy. It's not an image that you'd want to use to promote Chatham. I don't know really of any other small towns that do that, and even if there were, I still wouldn't be for it. The dealership moved out of Chatham over 45 years ago, and even then, they never had cars on the square. The only people who remember that are people in their 70s and their 80s, so it's not like it's... And the Village Square Park is the property of residents of Chatham. And I personally feel if the car dealership wants to harvest the traffic from Route 4, they need to buy property and pay the taxes. It's turned into a part-time car sales lot. It's our village square. It has a veterans memorial. And also, I've spoken with a lawyer, one that I work with, and he said that you guys have set up a precedent to where any business could get the same deal, or if not, you could be open, we all could be open for a lawsuit. So you could have any car dealership, any type of business. I mean, I couldn't think of a nasty business to mention, but I mean, and then what grounds would the village have to stand down to fight that? And I've looked on the website, and it looks like you can rent the village square for $150 a day if you're a non-resident. And I just think about, I think there's an Arby's that's going to be built down the road, and I don't know how much people pay for property off of Route 4, but I bet it's pretty expensive. And I just wish that you guys would reconsider changing the rules and regulations for the park, because like I said, it's our park, it adds value, and I think it's gotten trashed. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate those
How
comments.
is, who's booking? I mean, why did they have it twice?
Pat, do you know the
Yeah.
process?
You could reserve the whole square, like she said, for $150 a day. It's available to anyone. You come in and apply over across the street and pay the fee, and you can reserve the park.
Now, do we get the sales tax on the car if they sell it in Chatham?
We do not.
Unless they live here in Chatham,
I'm
right?
sorry.
Unless they live here in Chatham, correct? If
Yeah,
I buy a car, you get the money.
yeah, it's based on the person buying it.
Yeah.
whether they-
And I believe the people that own the dealership do own property in Chatham, so they're paying
No,
tax.
they don't. They own property in Springfield, they live around the lake. They do not own property in Chatham. At least
Well,
that's the way
it's
I believe it.
something I think we need to
Yeah.
revisit.
Yeah.
I think we need to have it at the next meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Let's put it on the agenda for,
Because I remember when they came the first time, they kind of came to the board, they at least came and asked for permission to do it. And at that point, I mean, the understanding I had was it was kind of like a big anniversary one-time thing. And
Yeah.
then I was actually just telling trustee Kimsey when I came in here, when I came down Route 4 this weekend, so I was actually kind of surprised that what was out there and kind of in shock and awe, and, I didn't really know about it. But yeah, I think we need to look at that and to refine that process.
I agree.
Okay.
Anybody else this evening? Yes, sir.
Kind of piggyback off of that, I've received a lot of emails and text messages and so forth as to why we're allowing a dealership. So I concur with everyone that this needs to be looked at. Regarding Memorial Day, it's not the Scouts that do that, it's the American Legion and the VFW. We do those services. The Scouts do participate.
Oh, okay.
And Friendly Chevrolet was very accommodating. They did move vehicles. They contacted me on the space that we needed, so they were very accommodating. And then, of course, it rained, so we didn't use the square. We used the American Legion post. So just so you're they have been very cooperative this weekend. They've contacted me several times, and I've contacted the commander to work all the things out. So they've been very accommodating with us, so in defense of that. But it does bother me that all of a sudden now our Veterans Park is now a car lot. So on that part. Along with that, I've stopped numerous times. It was just brought to my attention that over the weekend, a bunch of kids are climbing all over the memorial. We would like to see some signs stating, keep off the memorial. I mean, for crying out loud. I mean, I have personally stopped, and anyway, that part of it, all right? So, I did contact Mr. Hashman. He's out of town to get a quote on what the masonry work and things would cost. When he gets back in town, he's supposed to notify me, and he and I will meet up there and get that taken care of. The other thing that a couple of people have wanted me to do is to put a piece of plywood up there with a thermometer on it so we can see how much money is being raised and we can put our goal on there and so forth. And I said, I'm not doing anything like that until I get permission from the board to do something like that. I love Chatham, but I don't want to go to jail for it. So
I don't think that takes a vote. Is everybody okay with that? Okay.
Okay, all right.
Putting it on the memorial or in the gazebo?
Just putting along the
Oh,
road so
on the
when
road.
people going by, they
Oh, gotcha.
see,
Yeah, that's
you know,
fine. Yeah,
and we
yeah.
want to have it eventually to splashing, overflowing, so.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, I'm Les Morgan.
How do you spell that?
Okay, moving along. Oh, Anita, yes, ma'am.
I'm Anita Goodell, and I'm a resident of Chatham for 40 years, and I'm also the Executive Director of Illinois Church Action on Alcohol and Addiction Problems. And I've spoken many times about our objection to video gambling parlors in Chatham, and that was one of the promises the board made when they changed the law to allow video gambling, that they would not have video gambling parlors. So I was concerned about the two liquor license that you were proposing to discuss. The first one, as a neighbor said, this is a place where children come. The gaming board does not object to having it at children's places or any place else. It's been at laundromats, grocery stores, gas stations. As long as they get a liquor license, the gaming board will investigate and they will give them a liquor license. So this is something I think the board needs to seriously consider when you put your first restriction to make 60% food and alcohol sales. It was so there would not be video gambling parlors that catered just to mainly to the gambling. And we are inundated in this county with gambling machines. Springfield is #1 with video gambling licenses. They're #2 in losses. Sangamon County has had $78.7 million of video gambling losses in 3 years. 78.7. Chatham has had 1.9 million in gambling losses at the video gambling machines. It's a lot of money coming out of the economy that's not going into sales tax. And the village only gets 5% when they're giving. Right now, the state doesn't even give out the money to the communities from video gambling until a budget is passed.
That's true.
Yeah. The second objection is to the Wolfies. I know some of you are concerned that it should have a video gambling license because it is an existing business. But state law clearly said the licenses should only go to retail liquor establishments. That is where alcohol is poured and it is consumed on premise. Wolfies has always been a packaged liquor store. I know they had in the past tastings, but that's different than becoming a full bar. So that's our concern. Wolfie died, I think, and they had a group of lawyers that bought it. They had some wine tastings, I think, and now they have some new owners that want to buy it and go for a different focus. Well, we don't want this to turn into a video gambling parlor again. They have All About Wine in Springfield. Again, they were one of the first ones to ask for a license to have wine tastings, and now they've been having video gambling. They have a huge amount of video gambling. So that's our concern. And it just opens a Pandora's box. If you allow Wolfies to have a license that they can get video gambling for, then you're going to have discount liquor do the same thing. You've got all these convenience stores. In many communities statewide, you've had convenience stores ask for a pour license. They'll put in 1 or 2 little tables with chairs so that people don't necessarily drink there, but once they get the license, then they get the video gambling machines. So there's a lot of convenience stores, the grocery store. In other places, grocery stores have video gambling just because they got a special license. So I just ask that you not open the door. Again, I agree with the other people that spoke before. Take your time, slow down. I know a lot of board members, this is their first time to address the issue. Don't go too fast, look and see what's going on, because we have more than enough opportunities to gamble in Chatham and in Sangamon County. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Okay, moving along. Can I have a motion to put the consent agenda on the table for consideration?
Make a motion.
Do we have a second? Any questions about the warrants?
She'd second that, yeah.
Questions about the warrants?
No questions.
Corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, Pat, would you take the vote, please?
Trustee Clayton.
Yes.
Kimsey.
Yes.
Boyle.
Yes.
Linhorst.
Yes.
Sorry. Mal. Yes. Scottum.
Yes.
Okay, old business. Ken, Oxford Drive.
Yeah, this is ordinance number, Pat,
39.
39.
Yes.
This is the ordinance to approve the purchase of the water drain easement along Oxford Drive. This has been on for quite a while. I believe the trust had finally done whatever needed to be done to have that put forward for us to be able to purchase, and I believe the purchase of the easement was for $5,000. I'll make a motion. to put that on the table.
I'll second that.
Okay. Ken made the motion, Matt was the second. Discussion. I think we discussed that, I think pretty thoroughly.
Sum that up just fine.
Pat, would you take the vote, please?
Trustee Clayton.
Yes.
Kimsey.
Yes.
Boyle.
Yes.
Linhorst.
Yes.
Mal. Yes. Scottum.
Yes.
Okay, Ken, the liquor code ordinance.
Yeah, ordinance 15-40, this is an ordinance amending the Village of Chatham Code for liquor licenses. This would increase the number of outstanding licenses, adding one R1 liquor license and one Class T license.
Ken.
I'll second that.
Okay, Ken moved, Matt seconded. Discussion.
Yeah, it decreases P from 3 to 2, make sure we get that covered. And I would also like to offer an amendment here in section 4L10. There's a reduction in there in the special event license from 1 to 0. That should stay at 1.
They have one at a time, I think, is that?
It's limited to 1 outstanding.
Okay.
For a period at a time, but that's the license they get used for homecoming, Sweet Corn
Annual,
Festival,
okay.
Oktoberfest, so events like that.
Okay, so Dave has moved for an amendment. Do we have a second for Dave's amendment?
I'll second that.
Discussion of that. Okay, Pat, would you take the vote on the amendment?
Trustee Clayton.
Yes.
Kimsey.
Yes.
Boyle.
Yes.
Linhorst.
Yes.
Mal. Yes. Scottum.
Yes.
Okay, now discussion on the ordinance as amended.
I have a little bit more question. Now, the one ordinance that we brought up, Jeff, about saying they can still have liquor and then we'll limit them gambling, that's still available if we pass these, correct? We'll still be able to use that at any time?
Yeah, you could always, the ordinance that we talked about last week, you could always still bring back in the future, which would basically, what we were going, because you already have some liquor licenses out there that have video gaming, and we were gonna, as part of that ordinance, transfer any establishment that has a video gaming into that special G license.
Okay.
So if you were going to consider this in the future, I think you'd probably take kind of a snapshot in time and transfer those establishments that have gaming now and, roll it into, so you're not impairing anybody's rights who's gone out there and already got a gaming license.
Okay.
So so if an owner wanted to come in and just ask for a liquor license without gambling, right now we can't accommodate that, right? Is that?
Right now, once, we have no control, there's nothing in our liquor code that, has any regulations over gaming, so, video gaming. So we'd have to come back later in an ordinance and put those in there, and until we do that, or you do that, or decide to do that, then it's gonna continue to be, if they've got a retail liquor license, a pouring liquor license, they're gonna be eligible for a gaming permit under the state law.
And as a non-home rule community, we don't have any control over gaming under the gaming board, under the gaming code, but we would under the liquor code.
My suggestion would be put on the committee agenda for the next time we meet, a draft, and we'd have to have R1G and R2G license that dates that with machines physically in the establishment as of today.
Okay.
So Frank, the owner of Why Not, he doesn't, he expressed interest in seeking a license without a gaming.
Correct.
Right, so if you approved an ordinance that later put some restrictions on, it's not gonna impact, his license. But if in a year, he decided, I wanna change my business model and want to have video gaming, he would have to come back and transfer that license or apply for that special G license. And then the board would decide whether or not you wanted to increase that license as well.
So Pat, for the next meeting, we would need the R1 and R2 to physically have them on site now. We would need to know who those were so that if you're establishing this new classification and gonna make an immediate swap at that point in time for anybody with.
I think there may be some T licenses as well that have.
T licenses.
All the T licenses currently have gambling, right?
Yeah.
But we were talking about R, I mean.
Well, you could
We've got a different discussion when we start talking about a tavern.
Well, you could do that too. I mean, you could say any T license and then it, is eligible, but then, make it special for the R license.
You can have a T and a TG.
That's how they originally said
We've
that.
got, in our zoning code, we've got a very strict area where a tavern can even go in Chatham. It's limited. Tavern license is limited by zoning.
It's B2? Yeah.
This
I'll have
area.
to check. But
I kind of sense the board might want to consider the R1 license as it applies to Why Not. But I'm getting the sense that the T license expansion is okay. Is that?
I'm okay with it. I mean, this is just me. I'm okay with it as it is. I think I made that clear, last time.
I think we need to look for future to get
Okay.
that into place is the big thing. Is to
Okay.
make sure, if we need to still put that ordinance that you're talking about, Jeff, on the agenda next week.
Yeah, we can bring that back at the next meeting. and discuss that.
I'm, would be more comfortable looking at it going forward with future businesses.
Okay.
I think that it impairs the two that have come up here at this point, because now it's like, to me, you're changing the rules in the middle of the game,
Okay. Any further discussion? Pat, would you take the vote, please?
Trustee Clayton.
Yes.
Kimsey.
Yes.
Boyle.
Yes.
Lindhorst.
Yes.
Mel. Yes. Scarman. No.
Okay. Ken, moving along, RFQ Engineering Services.
This is resolution number, Pat,
That'll be 49.
49. This is the resolution to approve, Village of Chatham put out the request for qualifications for engineering services for the village's engineer. I think we've discussed this with him.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Pat, would you take the vote, please?
Trustee Clayton.
Yes.
Kimsey.
Yes.
Boyle.
Yes.
Lindhorst.
Yes.
Mel.
Yes.
And Scarman. Yes.
Okay, new business.
Let me get caught up here.
The amending the liquor ordinance regarding drive-up windows.
This is ordinance 15-41. This is the ordinance that would amend the liquor license to where poor establishments would not be able to have a drive-up window if they do have that poor license.
I'll second that.
I'll put that on the table. Yeah.
Discussion?
This limitation puts only packaged liquor stores are allowed to, which is a clarification from kind of a vague
If
section.
you're pouring alcoholic beverages, you can't have a drive-up window.
So this is this is saying only those with Class P license are allowed to have sale. And this.
Got cut off.
You may lose disconnected.
Drive-through attendant.
We lose you?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And this says that they only allow the sale of beer and wine. Is that the current case? Does anybody know? Or can you go over there and buy hard liquor as well, through a drive-up window.
Oh, you can buy. It says beer, wine, or any other alcohol.
Any other alcohol, yeah.
It's anything they're selling, can go out the window.
Yeah.
I mean, it's anything?
That's what it says.
It says sales of beer and wine through a drive-up window are allowed in accordance with the law and applicable zoning regulations.
Oh, yeah, so if a P could sell any retail alcohol liquor, we'll change that to, I guess, you want to allow, I think in the current,
Oh, I see.
do you want to allow other hard alcohol to be sold at a drive-up window? I guess that's,
The
I
next
thought it
section
was.
says it can.
No, I don't think it, I think, I remember when we passed that,
Oh,
that it
no.
was strictly limited to beer and alcohol. We were afraid of
Oh,
selling
yeah.
like a fifth
No.
out the window. and
So
then
Wolfie
somebody-
and the current owners have done that illegally for 20 years?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure they were doing this legally.
yeah, I'm not sure it was, I'm not sure it was real clear.
Yeah.
And so if you want to, if you want to say, any alcoholic liquor, we can say that, or we can keep that limited to beer and wine.
I'm not a fan of a drive-through at a liquor store
Yeah.
in the first place, but I understand that it's there. I mean, if you're selling out the window, you're selling out the window. There's no difference in opening a bottle than opening a can.
So
do we
so we amend it?
We will be down to the spot where we have one establishment that does this, and that's currently in existence.
Class P, we have
You just have you have two Class Bs.
There will be one.
Okay, so everybody comfortable with voting on the the ordinance as is?
Or do you want to change it to, they can sell any alcoholic liquor?
The same language that's in section D.
Okay.
So,
same language.
are you changing it?
Yes, I think they want to change it, or at least that's what I'm hearing. You want to make a motion to make
Yeah,
that
I would make a
modification?
motion that
Okay, so I make a motion that we change it to state sales through a drive-up window. So delete of beer and wine.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
second for Joe's motion.
I'll
Pat, would you take the vote on that?
Wait a
Or
minute.
can I, that could be a voice vote, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, who was the second on that, please?
Dave? Okay, we're ready to vote on the ordinance as amended. I think, okay, Pat, would you take the vote on the ordinance as amended?
Trustee Clayton? You there?
Yeah.
Kimsey?
Is that a vote or an Yes.
Boyle?
Yes.
Lindhorst?
Yes.
Mel?
Yes.
Ms. Garland?
Yes.
Okay. Ken,
This
the
is
inspection ordinance, the inspector ordinance.
15 dash, I think we're on 42.
Yeah.
This is an amendment for the building code inspectors. This was, we had talked about this, amending it, making it basically a flat fee for our building code inspector and giving the administrator the authority to appoint these. I'll make a motion to put on the table.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
I think,
Yeah, after a discussion, the way the bill is written, the way the ordinance is written, it states that the inspectors would be independent contractors. Seeing that the case, that would not allow the independent contractors to be covered under the Local Governmental and Governmental Employees Tort Immunity Act. And I think that's something that we want to make sure that our inspectors are out there and have the correct coverage. So I think we need to discuss this a little bit further. I know Ryan and Jeff have discussed it, and I think they want to discuss it further. So at this time, I would make a motion to table it and move it to old business for next week.
They were previously classified as an agent, and the agent classification allows them, they're still independent contractors, but operating as an agent of the village. Is that how that allows them under the tort?
well, I think the language was perhaps not as clear as it should have been. They can't both be independent contractors and covered by the Tort Immunity Act. So the discussion we need to have and what we'll bring back to the board is whether or not, you want them to be employees, and we'll perhaps bring an ordinance back that would, show what it looked like if they're employees versus what it looks like if they're gonna be independent contractors. And kind of the pluses and the minuses of that type of situation.
Jeff, is there any way to insure them, or is that?
If they're independent contractors, they're really covered by their own insurance.
They've got to do it themselves,
Yeah.
okay.
So we need
Okay,
further
so
discussion.
we'll table that.
Table that.
Okay. And then the intergovernmental agreement with the Spring. I've got 2 documents here that have not been executed yet, so I guess if you just,
Do we need to do it?
yeah.
Okay.
So
Make a motion to put that on the agenda.
It's all
I'll
good.
make a motion.
Yeah.
Second. Pat, would you take the vote, please?
Okay, let me catch up here. Who was the first
Kenny,
and the second?
me?
And this is just a voice? Do you have the document for me?
Yeah, I'll get them. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
give it to you.
All right.
I think they had prepared a resolution, or a resolution.
Is this a resolution?
So
Yes.
they can just take a voice vote?
Well, no, I think by roll call, but isn't
Okay.
this the one with the city or somebody had prepared a resolution for it? Is that what you have there?
Yeah, that's what he's,
Yeah.
he's
Okay,
signing
so this will be 50-15.
Okay, Pat, would you take the vote, please?
Trustee Clayton? Yes. Kimsey?
Yes.
Boyle?
Yes.
Lindhorst?
Yes.
Mel?
Yes.
And Scottomer.
Yes.
Okay. And then the utility bill, RFP, Ken.
Resolution 51-15, it's a resolution approving the request for proposal for the printing and the mailing of our utility bill. Is that correct? It's printing and mailing, is that right? We discussed this at the last meeting.
Second.
Thank you.
Any discussion?
Who was the second?
Dave.
Hearing none.
Sherry, is this going to save us money then, or is this the same contract that we have?
This is an RFP.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, this is the RFP going up, never mind, sorry. Got it.
Okay, Pat, would you take the vote,
Trustee
please?
Clayton? Yes. Kimsey?
Yes.
Boyle?
Yes.
Lindhorst?
Yes.
Mel?
Yes.
And Scottomer.
Yes.
Okay, so our next committee meeting is on September 29th.
Tom, that's
That's for
October
Tuesday.
6th.
Oh,
The correct date would be October 6th. 29th is the 5th Tuesday.
okay, so October 6th. And the next regular village board meeting is October 13th.
Yeah, and I want to bring up, we are in the process of finalizing the applicants for the village administrator. The actual closing date, I believe, is this Friday. And we have scheduled, are in the schedule and the timeline that we set out for everyone, said that we would be having a special meeting on Saturday to look over the resumes.
Saturday,
This Saturday is 26.
Okay.
So I make them.
What time?
9:30 in the morning is when our consultant can be here.
Okay.
Mr. Anderson. So we need to post a special meeting for that time. We'll be coming in as a regular meeting, then going immediately to executive committee to discuss the resumes, to get it down to about, I believe it's 4 or 5 or 6 resumes, then for further discussion.
Mark, does that work on your schedule? I know we had some concerns about who could make a Saturday.
I know I won't. I mean, if we can, somebody mentioned maybe just giving our input directly to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And doing, rating it instead of meeting Saturday, because I know myself, we have 3 kids in different directions, so we're already outnumbered.
And I won't be available Saturday. I could get a deputy clerk here, I'm just letting you know that I won't be available.
Yeah.
So we do need that.
Yeah, we need that.
You didn't think, Ken, you didn't think?
I don't, yeah, no, if I'll make it, I was with Nina, I mean, I can rank them and send them to them for discussion,
And I'll
so.
be
Will
there.
you be there, Dave?
We need 4, right?
No, you need a majority of 4,
Yeah.
which is 3.
And Jill can't make it, and neither can I.
I'll be there.
Okay.
So how many?
If you guys want me to
1, 2,
take a business trip Saturday and call in.
Mark, can you make Saturday? Mark,
What Saturday is it?
this one at 9:30 in the morning?
Hold on.
Pull over to check your calendar.
Yeah, I should be able to do that.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we have a special meeting 9:30 Saturday.
Just one other announcement real quick. Talk to Pat, we normally only have one regular board meeting in the month of December. I think we're only gonna, in talking to some of the trustees, I think we're only gonna have one committee meeting that first Tuesday in December as well.
Okay, I think that's the calendar we passed.
Yeah,
At
I
the
think
beginning
that's
of the year.
the case.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Can I ask you
Oh, sorry,
a question real quick? Few of the village employees asked if it was possible for them to drive their work vehicles in the local parades. Like say, for instance, the homecoming, VFW parade, stuff like that. So I think the police department currently does that, and they allow family members to ride in those vehicles. We checked with the insurance. They're fine with it as long as they sign a liability waiver. But I wanted to make sure that the board was okay with that. It would be strictly in town here, it wouldn't be in Springfield or anywhere else.
I think the
Homecoming's
consensus,
coming up and they would want to.
I think the consensus is yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting stands adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, now, Ken, Pat, and you guys and Joe, if you want to come, but we're gonna meet in the conference room and discuss it. You will see it. Pat, can you look into that?
Notice for Saturday.
Okay, I'll do that first of all.
I just need somebody to clarify. The why not apply for liquor license? Which one are they getting?